How you doing? Welcome to the buff concept on how to make champions the best champions in the game. So this is just my idea of a buff concept. So if you think disclaimer, if you think Kabam is going to buff the champions the way I want them to be, good luck with that because it's very likely not going to happen. Disclaimer, this is just my buff concept. So something I would love in the game is if the men in the game actually were good. If you notice in the game, the strongest champions in the game, best champions in the game is either a woman or a gay man. What is going on? So I want to hopefully that we can put a hashtag make men again in MCOC. It's really sad that men in MCOC are weak. It's like living in an alternate universe where women is actually stronger than men, which is not true. It's a fact that men are stronger than women. So let's make that true. So so let's do a hashtag make men best champions in MCOC because currently now they suck. The men in MCOC suck, which is really sad. Especially growing up, we look at like Captain America, OG Hulk, even Superman. We looked at them as our heroes because they stand for strength. Now look at them, like in the game, they're so pathetic. So I want to let you know this is just a bias buff, and it's a very biased buff. I'm just letting you know. So it's going to be a very powerful champion to get buff. This could be better than my buff concept of Groot, probably. So how to make Iron Man the best champion in the game. So hashtag make the man best champion in MCOC. So let's look at Iron Man. So making this buff is not super difficult, especially with Iron Man, because yes, he doesn't necessarily. He already has like the foundation to make him buff because he can have plenty of utilities. But the hardest part is making him not broken, making him overpowered but not broken. So let's see if we can make him overpowered but not broken at the same time. So let's see. When it comes to while in Arc Overload, Iron Man also gains an armor up for 6 seconds, increasing his armor rating. Let's get rid of that. What? We're just gonna nerf him? I thought we were gonna make him more powerful. Nope, we are, but that's kind of useless. That's pretty much useless. So instead of that, keep that Iron Man Overload arc reactor regen when he falls below 15% with X amount of health, which is really good. I think that's probably the best part about him is his signature ability, be able to regen X amount of health. So have that, keep that the regen, but instead of this, have it where it's similar to like having the synergy with Red Goblin. So Arc Overlord grants a Fury buff, increasing attack rating by 300% for 30 seconds. So it says no longer burns out, Iron Patriot, but suit, so it's kind of same idea and can be reactivated after a 60-second cooldown. So that's what I'm looking for. Arc Overlord grants the Fury buff, increasing attack rating by 300% for 30 seconds and can be reactivated after 60-second cooldown. So this is what I'm talking about, making a champion OP but not broken. So I thought about like at max Sig, be at 30-second cooldown, and at Sig 1 a 60-second cooldown, but I feel like that seems too broken. It feels like that's way too overpowered considering that we're still gonna buff him even more. So if it was like that, then that alone, that buff would make him so OP. Just that buff alone. If it was 30-second cooldown instead of at max Sig. So let's just keep it at 60-second cooldown, similar to the Red Goblin synergy. But now it's in Iron Man's awakening ability. So let's say at Sig 1 he gains 100% attack rating. At max Sig he gains 300% attack rating when it comes to Iron Man. So that's number one thing we could do. That alone will make him a pretty good buff. Just that alone. But that's not going to make him like anywhere near the best in the tech class, even just in the tech class. So let's add some more to it. And remember, he has this regeneration, which I think is really OP. Man, be able to redo that after 60-second cooldown and get 300% attack. That's really awesome. So here, when attack. So instead of when attack, all attacks has a chance to gain an armor up buff. So instead of that, is going to have similar to War Machine, always active. So start the fight with an indefinite armor up buff, increasing armor rating. So this is one, our War Machine's armor up buff is a little stronger, but it's okay. We're going to keep it the same as it was here when he gains an armor up buff, which is just below 2700. So keep that instead of the War Machine. So always active. So, but also he gains 25% chance instead of 11% chance to gain an extra armor up buff, not for 6 seconds, for 12 seconds. So let's double that. So 25% chance to gain an armor up buff for 12 seconds, granting 2688.89 armor rating. And here, remember, he already has one in the beginning of the fight, so they can stack. You know, what else? We're gonna make him immune to nullify and stagger, similar to, where is he at? Silver Warrior. So Silver Warrior is immune to nullify and stagger. So we're gonna make Iron Man immune to nullify and stagger. So he's gonna be immune to nullify stagger. So enemies cannot nerf his or nullify his armor up. And also he has similar to Hulkbuster, which is, let's look at it. And this is, as you can see here, it's for non-cosmic, but for Iron Man, it's also including for cosmic champions. Incoming bleed and poison debuff suffer minus 25% potency, so basically becomes 25% poison and bleed resistance. But it's not just that, it's also going to include shock. So let's go back to Iron Man. So he's going to be 25% poison resistant, bleed resistant, and shock resistant for every armor up he has. So that can make him really OP, really good champion, especially if you're running damage mastery. You know, you're going to be healing from it pretty much the entire fight, because he's always going to be 25% resistant to liquid courage. Will help him a lot, and he can easily get, I want to say easy, but he can gain like up to, you know, maybe like 4 armor ups. So that'll make him 100% poison resistant, bleed resistant. So that'll make him a good counter for a lot of fights in the game, even shock resistant as well. So that's really good. Also, against mutants, is going to be pretty similar to War Machine, where War Machine, where is it at? I don't see it. Removes one prowess effect from the opponent. So instead of he's able to remove prowess, it's similar to War Machine. So what they could do is basically Iron Man has a 50% chance on his light attacks to remove prowess on the opponent. Not just one, all of the prowess at the same time. So that's going to be really, really helpful. That could be too overpowered. I'm thinking if it's too OP or not. Nope. Let's go with it. It seemed like it is. But let's say 50% chance for each light attack to remove all prowess. And not only that, convert his prowess to his. So basically, he's gonna filter. He's gonna take away their prowess and use it on his own. He's gonna, for each prowess that he takes from the opponent, he'll gain 20% attack. Another thing he can have is with, what's his name? Not here. What is it? Not here, huh? Okay. With Silver Centurion, where's it at? So all attacks. So when Silver Centurion will strike with a critical hit, he instead inflicts a shock debuff on the opponent. So let's put that with Iron Man. Put that in Iron Man. And it's going to be pretty similar to Hulkbuster in a way, because so 100% chance to inflict a shock debuff, dealing 1994.3 energy damage over 10 seconds. So I don't expect it to be a lot, but it's something in that vicinity. So every time Iron Man crits, where is it at? He's going to have a 100% chance to inflict a shock debuff. So instead of a heavy attack, it's going to be when he crits. It's going to imply shock debuff, dealing 1994.3 damage. And this is a 6-star rank 4. So it's not a lot, but it's something to think about. It's something to add for his damage and his utility. So what else can we do for OG Iron Man to buff him? Now, special attack 1. It's going to be pretty much all special attack will be 100% chance to armor break. This, as far as the potency and the seconds, that's fine. We'll leave it the way it is. But all special attacks will be 100% chance to inflict an armor break. So when it comes to SP1, it's going to be similar to Hulkbuster, but not exactly the same. He's going to have 100% chance to stun for 1.5 seconds. And that's pretty much it. We're not going to include the second part, just the first part for Iron Man. So we're going to have a 1.5 second stun and an armor break when it comes to the special attack 1, and it has a 100% chance to inflict it. So when it comes to special 2, it's going to be very similar to Hulkbuster. So instead of block is broken, it's going to just be like when you hit the opponent. So you have to hit the opponent. Keep that in mind. To do a 100% chance to inflict a power burn. It's not just for 1 bar of power, the entire bar of power. Like 100% of max power. Like that's 3 bars of power. As well as he's going to power lock the opponent for 3 seconds. So we're going to put that in Iron Man. So it's going to be a little different. Instead of a block break, he's just going to be able to just hit the opponent. But he's got to connect. It's not the opponent cannot be blocking. Keep that in mind. So now let's go with the special 3 for OG Iron Man. It's going to be similar to Silver Centurion. So for just the first part, inflict a slow debuff. So instead of 28 seconds, that should be 30 seconds for Iron Man. And that should be enough for him to cycle the be able to do it in Abyss, where he can cycle SP3 when they become unstoppable. So also keep in mind he can have that activation with War Machine. It's 20% debuff duration that can actually extend it to another 6 seconds, so that'll be 36 seconds of a slow debuff on the opponent. So which will be plenty of time to be able to cycle SP3s when opponents become unstoppable in Abyss. So slow debuff and keep the armor break and keep it the same potency for 10 seconds. So those are it. So let's see, will that make him the best champion in the game? Just that signature ability. Wow, how OP that is, huh? Be able to regen at activate Arc Overload and gain 300% attack every 60 seconds. after 60 seconds. Oh man, that's insane. But keep in mind, he has to fall below 15%. So let's just look at utility. Let's start with utility. We have to grade his utility. So he has armor up, this buff concept, armor break, shock, remove prowess, stun on SB1, power lock on SB2, as well as power burn in SB2, and a slow in an SB3. So utility is definitely a 5, no doubt about it. I don't know if it's the best utility in the game. I don't think I would say Omega Sentinel might be a little bit better, but it's still, I would give it a 5 for utility. Now let's look at ease of use. Ease of use, it might not be the easiest champion to use. That could be debatable, but I still think his ease of use is going to be a 5 as well. So ease of use is a 5. Now let's talk about sustainability. So think about it. I think it's also a 5 because he's going to have armor up to begin with the fight, and he can also stack, so he can have like over 10,000 armor rating. Not only that, he's 25% for each armor up, poison, bleed, and shock resistance, which is going to help, especially if you're running damage mastery. Not only that, he's going to have this arc overload every 60 seconds, where he regens X amount of health, as well as gain up to 300% attack. But let's just talk about the sustainability. It's definitely a 5. Is it stronger than Diablo? That's debatable, but with the armor up and stuff, plus his resistance, and be able to regen the X amount of health every 60 seconds, I think that's pretty close to Diablo, if not even better than Diablo's regen. So that's definitely going to make it a 5 for his sustainability. When it, I believe that's what it's called, right? Sustainability. Now let's look at the last thing, damage, right? I think his damage would be at least 4.5. When you're considering he can inflict shocks on the opponent, shock vulnerability, right? Against that's 200% attack when the opponent is shocked. What else? When he fights against champions that have prowess, mostly mutants, he can gain 25% for each prowess that he takes from the opponent. That his damage there is at least 4.5. And then against when he falls below 15%, he gains 300% attack for 30 seconds. Now his damage there is also 5. So if you just think about any of those two combined, or even all three of them combined, 500% attack, plus what else? Gaining maybe like 200% special attack bonus, be able to remove prowess from an opponent. That will make him the hardest hitting champion in the game, without a doubt. Even harder than Cosmic Ghost Rider. And I think, but I would say, that's why I would say for his damage, it's at least 4.5. But, I think when you think about ease of use and damage, it's very important. It's very important they're connected together because, yeah, let's say Iron Man, this Iron Man buff concept, damage is 4.5, and Ghost is a 5, right? When it comes to damage, there's probably no debating that. But assuming you know how to play Ghost, right? Which I don't think most people do. Maybe, I don't think so, but maybe. But, or like Tigra, damage could be a 5 as well. Hela as well could be a 5. But assuming you know how to play them. So, but, they can all hit harder than this buff concept of Iron Man. But Iron Man, this buff concept I have, he's an easy champion to use. So he can actually probably deal more damage for the average or beginner users than Ghost, Hela, or even Tigra, because he's easy to use. So I think easy use and damage can be hand in hand. So what do you think about his this buff concept of Iron Man? You think it'll make him the best champion in the game? I think so. I mean, really, defense wise, I don't think he's gonna be super difficult, but he's gonna be still pretty tough, much harder than he is now. But utility is a 5 for sure. Ease of use is a 5. When it comes to Kabam scale, grading scale, what else? Sustainability is definitely a 5, and his damage is at least a 4.5. Those are my thoughts. What do you think about the Iron Man buff concept? Thank you.